Thank you very much for that introduction, Stan. It's really good to be here with you. And I'm going to go just a little bit beyond what Stan did just now and do something a little bit like what Roger did this morning. That is ask for a show of hands. How many of you are alumni of this program, of scholars or fellows? I know 3 hands at the table need to go up, and there are a few others here. Okay. All right, good. Dr. Pop himself, all of you. Okay. How many of you are site mentors or otherwise involved in faculty relationships with trainees in this program? Good, a handful of you. How many of you have aspirations potentially to be future scholars or fellows supported by this program? I hope there's a large number of hands.
Right.
Okay, good. All right, good. And hopefully you'll say that you're in the right place. Who's that? Yeah. Okay, my hand might go up there too. So let me just introduce you basically to the nuts and bolts of the Fogarty International Clinical Research Scholars and Fellows Program. I may call it FICRIS from here on. That's the acronym we use. And you can see among the 6 principal leaders of this that are listed on the title slide here, actually 5 of us are in the room. In addition to Stan and Roger and myself, Pierce Gardner is here, and Kat Lem is over here. She's the one who has the most information and can answer the most questions for you. Aaron Primack is listed there as well as really the originator of this program when he was full-time at Fogarty. And to advance, to go forward, does that do it? No, does that do it? Which one? This thing? Okay. All right. Good.
Right.
I come to you, as do Sten and Kat, from the Vanderbilt Institute for Global Health, which serves as the support center for this program through a grant from Fogarty. I've put the word scholars in red here to point out, to make us first initial real distinction for this. The first several slides that I'm going to show are related to the Fogarty International Clinical Research Scholars Program. The distinctives of the Scholars Program are that, in fact, the Fellows Program as well, is intended to provide mentored clinical research training opportunities, and the Scholars Program is for U.S. graduate and professional students in any health science. And this training is done at NIH-funded research centers in low or middle-income countries. A second major objective of this program is to build clinical research capacity within the LMICs by pairing the U.S. scholars with peer trainees from the LMICs along with the U.S. trainees. So it's those 2 major objectives. Here are the 25 training sites that are currently approved for the Scholars Program. They're in 15 low and middle income countries. You can see that in some countries we have multiple sites, such as in Bangladesh, China, there are 4 sites, Peru. The 2 site directors for those 2 sites within the same location in Peru are here today. These are scattered through Africa, Asia, and Latin America and the Caribbean. In order to be eligible for the Scholars Program, a U.S. applicant must meet the following criteria: have a strong academic record, be a U.S. citizen or permanent U.S. resident, and must have the support of a home academic institution, including a faculty mentor. A little bit more detail shown here. Students from a variety of health-related schools, professional and graduate schools, are eligible for this, not just medical schools, but also osteopathic, public health schools, veterinary, nutrition schools, dental, nursing, optometry, pharmacy schools, and potentially other doctoral level programs in other institutions. They need to have at least 6 months of their primary academic program yet to complete when they apply for this or when they begin this program. The application process is now entirely online. Our main website is fogartyscholars.org, and if you go /scholars, then it takes you to the part for pre-doctoral students.
There's a C in that scholars missing from the slide.
Oops, oh, wow.
It's spelled right on the web.
Can't believe how many times I've looked at this, but yeah, do spell it right. And our brochures over here will get it for you. I'm pleased to say, in fact, and I'm not sure whether we've mentioned this to Roger yet, that because we now have the application online for the first time, we can actually track how many applications have been initiated by people. And we have upwards of 50 applications already initiated for this program, and you can see the deadline, their submission deadline is still 2 months away. So I think that's very encouraging. We'll have a large number of applications for it. It is a very competitive program. And this slide is intended mainly to create an impression of lots of small print, because it's a list of the approximately 80 different schools and universities that have submitted successful applicants. This is not the total number of applicants, but those who have actually been granted awards in the program came from all of these schools. You'll find very prominent schools here, such as Harvard and Hopkins and Stanford and Emory and Vanderbilt. But you'll also find other institutions that have not traditionally submitted trainees in these areas, such as Washington State, not nearby here, not far from here, and osteopathic schools, and University of Nebraska. And so there's really a very nice scattering. I should say, please forgive me for neglecting in the prominent list the University of Washington. This fine university has submitted and very successfully mentored many scholars in this program. The selection process involves first the written application, as I mentioned, submitted now online when possible. There's an external review committee that chooses about 50 finalists who then are brought to NIH for a really fascinating 2 or 3 day meeting at which they hear more about the program, and then they do something like a speed dating, and they interview 8 to 10 different site directors or representatives who have come from the sites all over the world to do those interviews, and they each then rank each other. If you're familiar with the National Intern Resident Matching Program, it's virtually identical to that, and we go through a matching process then that gives each scholar finalist his or her top choice among the ones that match them. And by mid-March, they're notified of these selections. Simultaneously, along with that, the foreign sites are conducting their own in-country selection processes, which they have committed to make open and transparent, looking for doctoral students or recent graduates from doctoral programs from within their countries to pair along with the U.S. Scholars when they come over. The major activities of the program include a 2-week orientation at the NIH, which I'll tell you about in just a moment, a little bit more. Then at least 10 months spent at the designated site. While they're there, there is some online distance education and interaction that we organize for them so that the trainees in China or Thailand can hear a presentation from those in Peru and vice versa. Then there are activities that they are eligible for after this. They give us a report at the end of their time. Some of them are invited to come back the following March meeting, the selection meeting, to tell about their experience and interact with finalists. And then some others are given or agree to very special opportunities, such as those that we have here today, to make presentations about their experiences. The orientation, a little bit more detail about that, occurs over about a 2-week period every July on the NIH campus and is one of the most remarkable resources that I think any program, certainly unlike any other program of this nature, offers, with lectures, panels, and discussions with real top leaders in global health research at the NIH, as well as brought in from universities and NGOs around. They begin networking, creating networks of like-minded trainees. They learn how the NIH works. They mull over current priorities in global health research. We give them skills workshops and program-related information to help them prepare and be successful in their year abroad. And then this 2-week orientation at NIH is followed in many cases by about a 2-day mini orientation at the U.S. site host institution that's connected most strongly with the overseas site where they'll be. Support from the program includes stipends for both the U.S. And foreign scholar, and funds for travel, insurance, and educational materials, as well as infrastructural support at the sites. Roger showed you this picture a bit ago. This is the group, the current cohort of scholars that are now out around the world. This is both the U.S. Based and the foreign scholars shown here in this photograph. Just a little bit then, before I finish, about the Fellows Program. So the distinctions here are, the activities are very similar. There's an orientation. It's the same orientation, although we're beginning for next year to differentiate the orientation for the scholars and the fellows, because in this case, these are postdoctoral graduates, residents, fellows, other kinds of postdocs who are also posted then after a successful application into NIH-funded research centers in LMICs. These are the countries at which fellows can be posted. Actually, the number of countries is larger than those for scholars, although the total number of sites is not larger. The reason that there are some additional sites where fellows can go is that U.S. fellows have the opportunity to propose new sites. I don't know if this is a, well. Anyway, you can see that the eligibility criteria for this include either a U.S. citizen or permanent resident or a citizen of another country of the world. Basically, a citizen of an LMIC can apply directly to this program, whereas for the scholars, they have to be selected within country. And U.S. citizens and permanent residents can propose new sites, whereas the non-U.S. citizens must work within a pre-approved site. But in both cases, they need to develop, whereas the scholars do not. These applicants need to develop a research proposal in collaboration with their proposed site, and that becomes part of their application. This application is also online. It also needs a C added to fogartyscholars.org. I'll take care of that within minutes after this seminar is over. And they have a slightly different, like 2 week later, application deadline. For Roger and our Fogarty colleagues, we have more than 40 of these applications, maybe in the range of 45 by now, that have been started by prospective fellow applicants. So I think we'll have a very robust pool. These are the fellows who are currently abroad in the various sites around the world who just completed their orientation, where this photo was taken 2 months ago. We want to thank our generous funders. Stan had mentioned that we're really grateful, and I know Roger and all at Fogarty are very grateful for the real breadth of support that is offered. Fogarty International is named in the bold at the top because that's the core institute, of course, the core NIH center for this whole program, but they do a tremendous amount of networking throughout NIH and other agencies to get additional support for the program, and particularly for us to support scholars and fellows who are working in areas of global research of particular interest to these various institutes and centers. Roger mentioned, and I'll just really skip right by because I'm basically finished, that there is this new Fulbright Fogarty Fellowship available. It's in its very first year, and we don't know exactly what kind of shape it will take or what kind of applicant it will attract as contrasted with the traditional scholars program, but this is for graduate students basically, who also will get a year of support for research training in one of our sites, in an LMIC in sub-Saharan Africa. There are 5 or 6 such sites that are open for this, jointly administered in this case by the Fulbright program and the Fogarty International Center through our support center. The information for this is available online. The applications are actually due in just 1 month for this, for fellowships beginning next July. And interested applicants for this apply directly through the Fulbright online program. But we can assist in answering questions for any of you who might wonder about this program. Finally, and here I do have the C in the URL. In this case, it's fogartyscholars.org for more information. We have brochures and other information down on this table. And Kat, would you raise your hand? She's the one who has the most detailed and authoritative answers to any questions you might have about the program. Thank you very much.